Hello and welcome back to All the Words She Wrote. Last time, Mayo had a revelation about her feelings, but let's see if she does anything about that. Time passes, but none of it registers. It feels like I'm living inside a bubble, sealed away from the outside world, and, in a sense, I am. I don't even try to leave my room. That sounds like way too much effort. I while my days away in bed, doing nothing of any real importance. I can only bring myself to leave my room when I need to go to the bathroom and to eat with my parents. I can tell my parents are worried about me, even my mother. I thought for sure she would scold me over my stupidity. Heck, I feel like I deserve it. But even if that is what she wants to do, she shows a remarkable amount of restraint. She doesn't harangue me to get a new job like she used to back when I worked at Petit Jardin, then Blue Mountain. Her face creases with concern whenever our eyes meet, which isn't all that often, and our gloomy meals are punctuated with her incessant queries. "How are you feeling, Mayo? Any better? Do you want to watch a TV drama with me this evening? It'll be fun, the two of us together." It's nice to know my mother cares so much, I guess, but I think she might care a little too much. It's overwhelming. When I'm alone, which is most of the time, I can't help but think about Hijiri. I want to see her again. I want to see her so badly, it's like a physical ache. It gnaws on my insides, more insistent than any hunger pangs. It doesn't matter how much or how little I eat. I still feel hollow. I'd do anything to fix my relationship with Hijiri. I'm so desperate, I'd even be prepared to throw away all my elf forest merchandise. I love Princess Luluna, even now, after her untimely death. But Hijiri was right. She's just a character. She's a character that means a lot to me, granted, but she isn't real. Hijiri, meanwhile, is. Princess Luluna can't smile at me. She can't hold my hand or hug me, whereas Hijiri... But that's a total non-starter. Hijiri's never been the most touchy-feely of people. She didn't like it when I hugged her, even when we were sort of friends. There's no way she'd let me hug her now. Hug her now we're feuding. I can't imagine she'd ever bother to give me the time of the day again. I might have had a chance once to deepen our relationship, but I threw that away. I've ruined everything. It doesn't matter what I do now. I don't think Hijiri will ever forgive me. That's why I can't bring myself to call her, though I come perilously close to it on several occasions. I'm no psychic, but I'm pretty sure I know what she'll say.
"Sorry, but I'm not interested. Please, don't call me again. I don't want anything to do with you. Didn't I make that clear already? You really are an idiot."
The imaginary Hijiri who resides inside my head would be right, too. I am an idiot. If I had a modicum of intelligence, I'd let Hijiri go, but I can't. It feels like she's taken up residence inside my head. The more hopeless our relationship feels, the more I want to be with her. I want to see her and touch her and tell her... Oh, I want to tell her so many things. First and foremost, I want to tell her that I'm sorry. I was out of line. Won't she please, please forgive me? Unfortunately, that ship has sailed. I curl up on my bed, flipping through a fashion magazine. I look at the glossy pages, but I don't really see them. My mind is full, as always, of Hijiri. It's been almost 2 weeks since I've seen her. I wonder how she's doing, but I suppose I'll never know. Jeez. I exhale, my breath disturbing the pages of the magazine. I need to cut this out. I'm making myself miserable. I like Hijiri a lot, yeah, but there's no point yearning for something I can't have. I'm upsetting myself, not to mention my family. My parents are worried about me, and so are my friends. Nina's been too busy to see me again, what with her beauty school stuff, but she's been calling me almost every evening. The concern in her voice is palpable. I don't want to burden anyone else, not like I burdened Hijiri. It'll take a while to get over it, but Hijiri's rejection doesn't sting quite as much as it did. I'm healing, bit by bit. I think I'll be alright. I don't need her. I don't want her. That's what I tried to tell myself, but... Oh? I start. I can hear the doorbell ringing. It's Wednesday, which means my mother's at work. So's my dad. They both set off a few hours ago. I'm the only person here. I wonder who it is at the door. Maybe a delivery man? My mother might have ordered something. Though, if she had, surely she would have told me about it. I don't much feel like rising from my bed, but... Jeez. The doorbell rings again. I don't know who it is at the door, and I don't really care, but they sure are being persistent. Alright, I'm coming. I grumble, not that my mysterious visitor can hear it, and toss the magazine to one side. It's midday or thereabouts, but I'm still wearing my pajamas. Like yesterday, I didn't bother getting dressed, and my hair is still loose. I must look like a sight. No self-respecting person should still be in their pajamas after... I glance at the clock quickly, then blink. It's later than I thought, almost 1. I should get around to fixing lunch. I should have fixed it about half an hour ago, actually, but I didn't feel hungry. I don't feel hungry now either. I mostly feel tired. I'll give the delivery man quite the sight. No doubt he'll judge me. What is this slovenly girl doing? He'll think, looking me up and down in my pajamas. She looks to be in her 20s. Doesn't she have a job to get to? Don't tell me she's loafing around at her parents' expense. I frown. I might be able to make it as an author myself, not that I'd have the discipline to write a whole book, 'cause that sounded pretty darn believable. Oh well, it's too late to worry about my appearance now. I don't have the time to get dressed. The delivery man might not like me in my pajamas, but he'll just have to suck it up. I pad across the hallway, then down the stairs. All the while, the doorbell rings. A shrill, tinny cacophony that makes my head hurt. Cut that out! I'm coming as fast as I can. I jump the last 3 stairs, stumbling as I do so, then straighten. My bare toes curl against the wooden floor of the entry hall. The doorbell is still ringing. What's this delivery man's problem? You'd think he was handling precious jewels, given his insistence. Can't be a German delivery man. You wouldn't try that much. Sorry. I I know that can't be the case though. My mom's nowhere near rich enough to splash out on pretty trinkets like that. It's more likely this guy's got like zero patience. Manners don't cost anything, you know. I mumble mutinously as I approach the door. My fingers curl about the door handle. I pull it down, then push the door out.
Yes, what is...
I begin, my lips pursed into a frown. But my voice soon trails off when I see the person standing on the doorstep. The person is a diminutive one, almost a full head shorter than me. I've seen middle school students taller than this, but their face is clearly that of an adult's, devoid of baby fat. Their hair is long and thick and curly, tied back in two messy buns. Their eyes are brown like caramel, underscored with startlingly dark bags, and their skin is dark. They're wearing a white sweater with a pink dress atop it, which flutters in the breeze about their calves. It's these clothes which throw me. I've never seen her wear anything like this before. For as long as I've known her, she's favored baggy tracksuits. She even wore her jersey on top of her bikini when we went to the beach, the oversized fabric all bunched up at her elbows, hanging over her hands. Her bedroom floor is strewn with clothes, but she's never worn any of them. She always told me she didn't care about her appearance, but right now, she looks utterly adorable. The deep bags underneath her eyes do work against the summery freshness of her looks somewhat, but I suppose they suit her. She wouldn't be herself if she didn't look at least a little fed up. It is, of course.
Hijiri. That's right, it's me.
Hijiri replies in a cool manner, undercutting my own confusion. She makes it sound like this encounter is nothing all that special, certainly nothing earth-shattering, but when I peer at Hijiri, I can see that her face is flushed, and she isn't quite looking me in the eye. I think she must be a bit embarrassed. That makes me feel a little better, I guess. This is still a lot to take in, though.
Hijiri,
I swallow. My voice is shaking, just like the rest of me. I feel all faint and insubstantial. A single gust of wind could blow me away.
Is it really you? Well, who else would it be?
Hijiri harumphs, her snub nose turned up in the air.
Now, stop gawping. You look gormless when you do that, like you've lost leave of your senses. You'll let flies in if you don't shut your mouth.
Oh, Hijiri. Strange though it may sound, it's Hijiri's needling which finally reassures me. This really is Hijiri. It has to be. No apparition would be so cruel. The Hijiri in my imagination would pardon me without a second thought, but this Hijiri seems rather more inclined to make me work for my forgiveness. I prefer it that way. It's what I deserve after saying all those awful things. I think I want her to punish me. I wonder what that says about my character. Do I enjoy being bullied? That's a bit of an unnerving thought, but I'll push it to one side for now. It doesn't matter. It's unimportant, trivial. All I can think of right now, all I want to think of, is Hijiri. Hijiri. I sniff. I can feel my eyes filling with hot, thankful tears. Hijiri, I missed you so much. I'm sorry about all that, Hijiri. I was acting kind of crazy. I giggle bashfully, my head bowed, as I recall my conduct from earlier. I was so overwhelmed to see Hijiri standing on my doorstep without any prior warning. I think a critical part of me malfunctioned. My brain melted, and my eyes soon followed suit, tears sluicing down my cheeks like, I don't know, slug slime? I couldn't see my own crying face, but I doubt it was a pretty sight. I don't sob like the girls in romance manga do, their tears perfectly round and pearly, their makeup immaculate. I wasn't wearing makeup during my breakdown, thank goodness, but I bet my eyes went all red and puffy regardless. My nose started running too, and I had to wipe it with the back of my arm. That was embarrassing enough, and then the hiccuping started. These weren't one or two delicate hiccups, oh no. These were hiccups of the most vengeful variety that made my whole body convulse like possessed kids do in horror movies when wicked spirits creep inside them. It was, as Nina sometimes says, a lot. It's a wonder my antiques didn't scare Hijiri away from my doorstep. If I'd been in her shoes, they're quite cute shoes by the way, white wedge sandals. I know, I would have bolted. Fortunately for me, Hijiri isn't as skittish as all that. She let herself inside my house, well, technically it's my parents' house, while I was still sobbing, insensible, and shut the door behind us. Then she led me into the kitchen/living room, sat me on a couch, then rifled through the unfamiliar drawers looking for the kitchen roll. Once found, she took her prize back to me and pressed it into my palms. I thanked her through my sobs, my face all damp and blotchy, and wiped the tears and the snot away. My tears have finally subsided, alongside the hiccups, and now I feel slightly more normal. At least I can breathe now, without choking on my own tears. I'm acutely aware that I'm still in my pajamas, my sleeves streaked with snot and my hair all rumpled, but it's probably too late to worry about such things. Hijiri has already seen me in my pajamas at... Aw, jeez. A quick scan of the circular clock on the wall tells me it's 1:24 now. Did it really take that long for my tears to subside? I'm making such a fool out of myself. I'm glad Hijiri came to see me, of course I am, but I wish she'd found me in a slightly more respectable circumstances. The crying thing was probably unavoidable, but it'd be nice if I was wearing proper clothes. Oh well, if nothing else, it makes for quite the interesting role reversal. That's what I've been thinking. For once, Hijiri is the one properly dressed, whereas I look like a mess. I feel like a mess too. You don't think I'm crazy, do you, Hijiri?
Now, why would I be what? Now why are you asking me that?
Hijiri smiles thinly.
I know you're crazy. I figured that out from the start, when we first met.
Oh yeah? How'd you figure?
You introduced yourself as an Elf Forest fan. Only crazy people like Elf Forest. It's not a good series by any means, but you get so incredibly emotional about it. I really don't understand you.
Right. I wince, my head dipping. I feel ashamed in you, not only because of my appearance, which is shocking, but because of my past behavior, which was even more so. It really is a wonder Hijiri came here after all that crap I said to her. Why is she giving me the time of the day? I don't think I'd bother. I really am sorry I said all that, Hijiri. It was out of line.
Yes, it was. Your behavior was utterly inappropriate. But after giving it some thought, I do have to wonder whether I wasn't also partially to blame.
You mean about Luluna's death?
No, I don't mean that. Princess Luluna is my creation. She wouldn't exist without me. As such, I should be free to do whatever I want with her. I won't apologize for killing her. I don't think that I did anything wrong there.
Yeah, I figured as much. I smile, though it's somewhat strained. You're right. Forest is your story. At the end of the day, no matter how attached I might be to it. You're the only one who gets a say in how things shake out. I was being pretty egotistical, thinking my opinion mattered. I should have kept my big mouth shut.
I would concur in most cases, but I don't think you meant it to cause any offense. Not at the beginning, at least. You were simply upset that the character you loved had died. You might have taken it a bit too far.
Yeah, that's me all over.
But your reaction came from the strong connection you have to my characters. If my writing didn't resonate with you, you wouldn't have felt so deeply for Luluna's plight. It took me a while to realize this, but once I did, I decided that I couldn't hate you. You were simply trying to express, albeit poorly, how much you loved my writing. I don't think anything I've written has touched anybody that deeply before. It was flattering, I suppose.
Here, Hijiri harumphs.
At least it would have been if you hadn't ventured into the territory of personal insults. I wasn't very happy about being called a bitch.
Yeah, I run a hand through my hair. I haven't brushed it since last night and it's all tangled like a bird's nest. I was upset. I wasn't thinking clearly. Not just about Luluna's death, but about a whole bunch of other things. I know it sounds stupid. I am stupid, but, well... I let my hand drop to my lap. It feels heavy, as though my bone marrow has been turned to lead. You'd think my relief at seeing Hijiri again would have filled me with newfound energy, but it's actually the opposite. I've experienced such a huge array of emotions this last half hour. I feel utterly exhausted, even more so than I did in the height of my misery, when I couldn't bring myself to get out of bed. All that crying really has taken its toll on me. I don't think I would have blown up like I did if you hadn't called your fans shallow. That was what really got to me. You said your fans didn't care about your writing or about you, but that isn't true. I really did love Forest. I still do. I love it a whole bunch. I mightn't be the smartest person in the world. I'm pretty dumb actually, and I don't know the fancy words real critics use when they write about stories, but I'm being sincere. I've always been sincere. I've been trying to tell you how I feel about your work since we met, but it feels... I don't know. Like you've been throwing my feelings back in my face, all 'cause you think I'm not smart enough. It's like my opinion doesn't matter to you. I think that's why I got so mad. It's not 'cause I hate you. I don't think I could ever hate you, Hijiri.
Even though you called me a bitch?
That was in the heat of the moment. I don't really think that.
Really?
Hijiri raises an eyebrow. She sounds icy, but to my relief, I can spy the beginnings of a smile forming about her lips. I don't think Hijiri's that upset by my insult. Not anymore, at least. It's more likely, knowing Hijiri, that she's trying to tease me. It's a relief. I'm glad our relationship has been repaired to the point where we can bicker like this without worrying about bruised feelings. It's almost as though our argument never happened, but believing that would be foolish. It definitely happened. I still have the memories and all of the hurt that came with them. It's not quite gone away, not just yet. Before Hijiri and I can make up with one another, I want to get all my negative feelings out in the open.
Yes, really.
Well, I clear my throat. You can be kind of mean sometimes. I don't mind too much when you poke fun at me. I know that's just the way you are, but you can take things too far at times. I try to act cheerful, but I do have feelings, and they can get bruised. I'm not impervious to insults. It upset me when you ignored me, and I don't like it when you speak down to me. I don't know half as many fancy words and theories as you do, Hijiri, and I know you're cleverer than I am, but that doesn't mean my opinions are worthless. I just wish you took me a bit more seriously. I'm not smart, but I'm always sincere.
Yeah.
Hijiri replies after a small pause.
I know. And I think you're right. It stung when you called me a bitch, but it wouldn't have if there hadn't been some truth to it. I am a bitch. You are right. I do look down on people, my publishers and my fans. And you, too. I like to tell myself that I'm smarter than everybody else because it's all I really have. It's always been this way with me, ever since I've been a child. My parents split up when I was younger and, well...
Hijiri's voice trails away. She shakes her head.
I won't go into the details. That was a very long time ago. But it left a mark. My mother had to work 2 jobs to support us. She was almost never at home, and when she was too tired to pay me much attention. I think she might have resented me. We argued often about silly, petty things. Things I don't want to think about.
Oh, Hijiri. My expression softens. I had no idea. I'd heard that the family situation was messy, but I hadn't realized quite how messy it was. It sounds like a childhood was a difficult one, devoid of any real parental love. Didn't you have any other family willing to help you?
We did, yes. My grandparents were supportive. They wanted to send my mother money to alleviate our financial burdens, but my mother refused all of their aid.
What? But why?
Because she was stupid. My grandparents, my mother's parents rather, didn't approve of her relationship with my father. They thought it all far too fast and ill-conceived. I suppose the fact she was a foreigner may also have played into their doubts. My grandparents were very Traditional, I suppose you could say, though that's putting it charitably. Naturally, this upset my mother. She ignored all of the warnings and eloped with my father behind their backs. She was younger than I am now when they got married. She was only 21. I'm sure she thought our relationship was very romantic, and perhaps it would have been if my father hadn't started cheating on her.
And? I lean in, my eyes wide with curiosity, though I think I know where the story is going. What happened?
I don't recall too much of it. I was only 6 years old at the time. Some of my earliest memories are of those vicious arguments between my parents, though. My father was the one in the wrong, but the way my mother confronted him...
Hijiri shudders.
It was terrifying. She accused my father of, well, all sorts of things. I'm not sure how much of it was true. Maybe all of it, maybe only parts of it. My mother was paranoid. She hurled a lot of abuse at him. She even threw things, once or twice. I don't know what I ever saw in you. I don't know what I ever saw in you. My parents were right. You've been deceiving me this whole time, she would say, and other such words to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. Well, in the end, it wore my father down. He filed for a divorce and he left my mother and me. I've not seen him since. I can't remember much about him really, other than the arguments. I don't know how much of my mother's accusations were true.
So, why didn't your mother accept your grandparents' help?
It was because of her pride. She's always had a lot of it, more than she really needs for such a fool.
Hijiri snorts.
In that sense, we might be quite similar. She couldn't forgive my grandparents, you see, for being reticent about her relationship, and then for being right. She thought accepting their money would be tantamount to admitting defeat. At least, I think that's how she felt. She didn't tell me this, but I'm canny enough to guess. I think I'd probably feel the same if I was in her position. Not that it makes me feel any better about what happened. If my mother hadn't been so stubborn, she wouldn't have needed to work herself to the bone, and we could have spent more time together. My grandparents, you see, were rather wealthy. The house I live in... The house I live in now was theirs once before they passed away. My mother inherited it, but she didn't want her parents' charity. She really is an impossible woman, even now, though she's old enough to know better. She's almost 50. Well, I wasn't about to let my grandparents' house go empty. I spent several happy childhoods in that place before my family fell apart, and I would have hated for it to remain unused.
I see. That explains how Hijiri ended up in such a spacious home, located deep in the countryside. I had wondered about that.
I still can't forgive my mother for her stubbornness. I often think if she'd accepted my grandparents' help, we would have been much better off. I wouldn't have had to endure such a miserable childhood, and I probably would have been able to spend more time with her. I doubt our relationship would be as strained as it is now. But it's too late for such regrets. I'm telling you this not because I want you to pity me, but because I want you to understand how I feel. I wasn't a happy child. My relationships with my mother was non-existent, and I didn't really have any friends. My classmates didn't tease me, but they all kept their distance. They didn't want anything to do with me. a peculiar-looking girl from a poor family who couldn't afford a proper winter coat. The only thing I really had was my intelligence. My grades were always the best since middle school among my peers, and I clung to that. It was all which stopped me feeling extraneous, I suppose. I was still unhappy, but my grades gave me something to feel good about. That's probably why I started to look down on other people. I told myself that I didn't care that my mother was never around, or that my classmates didn't like me. I didn't want their approval. I didn't need it. I was superior to them. I know now that this was nothing but an immature coping mechanism. But it did help, at the time. It gave me some manner of comfort until the accident happened. I think that was when I realized, lying in a hospital bed, how powerless I actually was. But I've talked for too long already. I must be boring you.
Oh, no, not at all. You could never bore me, Hijiri.
You're too kind.
I'm not being kind. It's the truth, honest to goodness. If Hijiri wasn't a skilled storyteller, I never would have been so drawn into the world of Elf Forest. The cute girls help, of course, but it was the story itself which really spoke to me. Elf Forest tells the tale of Itsuki, a young boy from a broken home who hasn't seen his father in many years, and whose mother is so busy with work she barely notices her teenage son. Neglected and alone, Itsuki takes to wandering the streets at night to escape his stifling home environment. It's during one such walk, on his way to the local convenience store, that he spaces out and gets hit by an oncoming vehicle. Itsuki's consciousness fades, but he doesn't feel any regret when it does. Instead, he is relieved to be freed from a sad, lonely life. Thank goodness that's over, Itsuki thinks, as his head hits the asphalt. Now I can finally rest. But that's only the first chapter of Elf Forest. The story doesn't, of course, end there. If it had, the series wouldn't have become as popular as it is now. When Itsuki eventually awakes, it's in the magical realm of Chrysteria. His head is resting upon the lap of a pretty woman, later revealed to be Princess Luluna, who peers at him with eyes brimful of concern. Luluna leans over him, her fingers threaded in his hair, and gently utters these words of compassion.
Thank goodness you're awake. I was so worried about you. Are you alright?
Princess Luluna's concern is so palpable that Itsuki, even in his dazed, confused state, feels his heart flutter. He's never known such tenderness before, and it moves him. His eyes begin to prickle with encroaching tears. And then he begins to cry. The opening sequence of Elf Forest's first volume has made me shed tears too on several occasions. Itsuki's feelings are so raw and real. They've always resonated with me, though I've never endured a similar situation myself. I was always pretty popular back in school, with my classmates that is. My teachers never liked me much, Daylight Saito in particular, but I never cared about their opinions. My parents have been happily married, for the most part, for almost 30 years, and I've never felt like throwing my life away. I've never been in dire need of a Princess Luluna to rescue me from my suffering, but I still fell for her, almost as deeply as, if not more than, Itsuki did. That's how powerful Hijiri's writing is. It's impossible not to be embroiled in her world or her characters. And now, I think I know why. Itsuki's life before he found himself on Chrysteria is nothing like mine, but it does sound a lot like Hijiri's. Is that where she drew upon the inspiration to write Elf Forest? It's no wonder it all felt so heartfelt.
Well, none of that matters now. It was a long time ago.
Hijiri's voice disturbs my thoughts. She observes me, her head tilted slightly. If Hijiri's aware of my revelation, which she must be surely, she knows how much I adore Elf Forest. She doesn't mention it. Instead, she smiles and says,
I've changed since then. That's what I'd like to believe, at least, but I started to wonder about that when you scolded me. I don't like being insulted. Does anybody? But I think you were right. I am a bitch. I haven't grown as much as I'd like to. I still look down on people, even now. It was a defense mechanism from my childhood, but that's not a real excuse. I'm not a child anymore, and I shouldn't act like one. I want to be more earnest, more optimistic. And I want to try being nicer to people too. I want to be like you, Mayo.
Like me?
That's right. I didn't realize it until you left me. For all my supposed book smarts, I can be awfully lacking in common sense, but...
Hijiri looks into my eyes, her expression surprisingly ardent. Her brown eyes are so wide, I could fall into them. My heart flutters.
I missed you. The house felt so dull and empty without you, I couldn't concentrate. I've always thought that I was happiest alone, with no company but my own. But being with you, made me reconsider. I think, in truth, I've always wanted a friend. I was too anxious to admit that, though. Instead, I ran away and sought solace in stories. But I can't write anything if you're not there to cheer me on. Not anymore. It's not possible. I know this is a selfish request, not to mention a contradictory one when I'm the one who told you to leave me alone, but...
Hijiri inhales. It looks like she's stealing her nerves. What does she want to say? Could it be? Dare I hope?
I want you to come back with me.
I stare at Hijiri, my eyes wide. Her chest is heaving up and down beneath her white sweater. She looks uncommonly worked up, almost at her wit's end, but still, she soldiers on. Hijiri isn't a coward, no matter what she may say about herself.
No, that isn't right. I need you to come back with me. I need you around so I can feel like myself again.
Hijiri, does it mean you forgive me?
Of course I do. Doesn't that go without saying? I forgive you. And what's more,
Here, Hijiri falters. She opens and closes her mouth, but no sound comes out. For a few moments, time seems to freeze. Hijiri's face flushes, redder than a strawberry, and then... Aggrieved, Hijiri throws her arms aloft.
This is horribly cheesy, not to mention embarrassing, but I really do like you. I like you despite yourself, just like Itsuki liked Luluna. You make me feel, I don't know, like nobody else ever has. You make me feel like I'm important for more than just my brains, more than just my writing, more than just my success. You make me feel like I actually matter, and so I think I might want to stay with you for a long, long time. I don't want you to leave me.
Oh, Hijiri. Hijiri's impassioned cries make my heart thump. Part of me thinks, though vaguely, I should exercise some self-control. There's always a chance I might be mistaking her feelings. I often make mistakes after all, particularly when it comes to Hijiri. She's an enigma at the best of times, and I'm an idiot. It's not the best of combinations. We're utterly ill-suited for one another, but for once, I think I understand her perfectly. I think I know what it is that Hijiri wants to say. It's exactly what I've wanted to say to her ever since she booted me out of her home. I didn't think I would get the chance, but now I know that is something I was wrong about. I've never been happier to be proven wrong in all my life.
I don't want to leave you either. I love you. What? You do?
Yes, I do. I love you so, so much.
Even though I'm mean to you?
Even so.
Even though I'm a bitch?
We can work on it. Nobody's perfect. I'm definitely not perfect, but I don't think that matters. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy of being loved. Won't you let me show you that?
Mayo.
The two of us move together in almost perfect unison. For once, we seem to be on the same page. I wind my arms about Hijiri's shoulders, pulling her close. I dip my head, my eyelashes falling shut, while she tilts her head upwards. My heart beats hard, threatening to burst out of my chest altogether. As, with a soft sigh, my lips find Hijiri's. I'm kissing her, and she's kissing me. We're kissing each other, our arms wound together in the same room where Sae sat 3 months ago to tell me that Komikado Hijiri was looking for a housekeeper. I never imagined back then, as I listened to Sae, the room full of the scent of green tea, that this would happen. While I knew that I loved Tsuchimi Rui, I didn't think I'd fall in love with the woman behind the pseudonym. Hijiri and I endured a lot of storms to get to where we are now. I don't doubt there'll be further tribulations awaiting us in the future, but for the present, none of that seems to matter. I've always thought it pointless to worry about the future. I know what tomorrow will bring. I'm going to spend it with Hijiri. Beyond that, I don't need to worry too much. I've done more than enough of that to last a lifetime. I'm going to keep kissing Hijiri over and over until I've impressed upon her just how happy she makes me. I hope I can make her happy too. I really do love her. That went faster than I would have thought, but okay. At least everything's out in the open. It's always a relief. Communication. That's where that can lead you. So, is this Miss Komikado?
That's right, this is Hijiri.
I beam earnestly at Hijiri, like a little kid showing off a school project. Maybe I'm being a bit too effusive in my praise. Hijiri's starting to look embarrassed, but I can't help myself. I love Hijiri, and I'm not afraid of letting people know that. In fact, I want people to know that. I'm proud of being Hijiri's girlfriend. That's why I asked Hijiri to wait at my parents' home, so I could break the news of our relationship to them. I could have up and left with Hijiri after packing a bag and leaving a note, but that didn't seem right. I wanted to introduce them to Hijiri. I think that'll make our relationship feel more official. My parents might be surprised that my first relationship at the tender age of 24 is with another woman, but then again, maybe not. They've seen all the Princess Lulana merchandise I had in my bedroom. My fondness for cute girls is well documented. I want to be happy with Hijiri, and I want my parents to support me in this happiness. I'm too old to skulk around their backs like a naughty teenager. So I agree with that and come out whenever you're ready and all that. I think I just cannot completely emphasize with it from my point of view, because when I enter a relationship, I kind of want to have that between the other person and me for a while. But then again, of course, Mayu is very sure of her feelings and just goes ahead and very enthusiastic. It's just her, so it does fit her. You know, I'm not saying it's unrealistic or whatever, it's just people handle this stuff differently. It is very nice to meet you, Miss Komikado. Or would you prefer Hijiri?
Hijiri is fine. Komikado is a bit of a mouthful.
Alright then, Hijiri. My father offers Hijiri a polite, if slightly bemused, smile. I must thank you for giving my daughter the opportunity to work for you. It's been a very good experience for her. Yes, indeed. We are in your debt, Miss Komikado, for giving our Mayu such a wonderful opportunity.
Call me Hijiri, please.
Hijiri demurs, her eyes directed at her lap.
And you needn't thank me for that. The housekeeping business was Sai's idea.
But you agreed to take my daughter in. That shows a great amount of kindness on your part. I doubt others in your position would be willing to employ my daughter, not for so lucrative a position.
Hey, don't make me sound like a charity case. I worked hard for my money, you know. It's not like I was coasting by on Hijiri's pity. No, your mother might have the right of it.
Hijiri smiles thinly for the first time since sitting with my parents. I think she's beginning to get over her initial shyness, consoled perhaps by my mother's unintentional, or is it, needling. She and my mother might be quite similar. They both seem to enjoy digging at me. For the first time, I begin to panic. What have I gotten myself in for? I do love Hijiri, it's true, but that smile of hers makes my heart flutter, and not in a lovey-dovey way.
In the beginning, I thought of Mayo as a stray cat. I took her in out of the goodness of my heart, not because I had any genuine desire for a housekeeper. I thought her presence in my home would be nothing more than an unwelcome distraction. During the first few weeks of our cohabitation, I tried to ignore her.
Here, Hijiri's cruel smile softens to something sweeter, more sincere.
But over time, something changed. I discovered that your daughter is, contrary to all outward appearances, quite the hard worker. She earned my trust, and later, my friendship. We've had our ups and downs, as people always do, but after our last argument,
Hijiri's cheeks flush. Abashed once more, she glances away, her long eyelashes trembling.
I realized that If I'm to be frank,
Hijiri looks at me, her brown eyes large, almost liquid, and reaches out. She takes my hand. Her fingers curl about mine upon my lap, beneath the tabletop. This gesture is obscured from my parents' view, but they must be able to see Hijiri's shifting, not to mention how close we are. Our shoulders are practically brushing. This isn't standard etiquette between employers and employees, or even friends. Our relationship has transcended all of that. I wonder if my parents can tell. Is it obvious?
I don't want to be without your daughter.
Hijiri. Oh geez, now I'm starting to blush. I didn't expect Hijiri to be so bold. It's a total surprise. My palms are starting to get sweaty, but I appreciate the gesture nonetheless. I didn't know Hijiri could be so possessive. She's clinging to me tightly, her nails digging into my skin, as though she can't bear to let me go. She really is taking this seriously.
I like Mayo as a friend, but my feelings for her are deeper even than that. I want her to live with me again, as she did, but I don't want her to be my housekeeper, not anymore. I'd rather she be my girlfriend.
Silence fills the room, following Hijiri's impassioned declaration. It's so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. The air is cloudy with steam exuding from our cups of green tea, but I can see my parents through the haze. My father looks bemused, my mother outright stunned. My nostrils tingle with the scent of green tea, and my skin prickles. I can feel my heart inside my chest, beating away at approximately a mile a minute. I feel almost ready to collapse. What will my parents say? What do they think? Time seems to drag on, until... My goodness! My father is the first to speak. He still looks confused, but politely so. I think I can see the beginnings of a smile upon his lips. Surely that's a good sign? I didn't think when Mayo asked if we could talk that we would be talking about so intimate an issue. I didn't imagine. My father pauses, then shakes his head. But I've never had much in the way of imagination. That's why I've never dreamed of being a writer. My father laughs. I think he means to relax Hijiri, whose shoulders are now incredibly stiff. This is all very sudden. But if that's how you feel about my daughter, then I'm happy to hear it.
You are?
Of course I am. I do advise, and I can see how my daughter feels about you. She's been out of sorts ever since she returned home, but her attitude has gone through a complete change after seeing you again. It is apparent you make her happy, and if my daughter's happy, then I'm happy. As a parent, there is nothing else I could want. Don't you agree, Miyako, dear? My mother was sitting slack-mouthed in utter silence following Hijiri's announcement, but she springs into action after being prompted by my father. She nods decisively, both hands clasped at her front, then declares, "Oh, yes, I've only ever wanted you to be happy, Mayo. I know I can be a bit pushy at times." A bit? Yeah, right. Try a lot. But that's only because I care about you. When I thought of your future, I never envisioned you would spend it with another woman. But you've never done things as I expected, ever since you were small. You've always been infuriatingly willful, but I'd rather you do things that make you happy, as opposed to doing things that make me happy. Your life is your own. I can't live it for you. I don't necessarily understand how you feel, but I'll support you regardless. You're my daughter, and I want nothing but the best for you.
Then, does that mean...
I stare at my mother with wide, surprised eyes.
Are you alright with this?
I had imagined my parents would be alright with it, else I never would have suggested Hijiri and I speak to them. But assuming is very different from experiencing. I'm starting to get choked up. My heart is hammering, my palms are clammy, and now my eyes are stinging for the second time today. I hope I don't start hiccuping again. That really would be embarrassing, though it wouldn't be wholly unexpected. I just can't catch a break today. The last few hours have been a real roller coaster of emotions, and my mother's response is hardly helping. Of course I'm alright with it. There are worse things your child can do than fall in love. Why would I ever hold that against you?
I don't know. I didn't think you would, but we do argue sometimes.
About household chores, yes, but about your love life? I don't think that has ever come up.
That's only 'cause I've never dated until now.
True. I was worried about that actually. I worked my way through 5 boyfriends, or was it 6, before I settled on your father.
What? Really?
Yes, really. I do not mean to boast, but I used to be very popular. You're not wrong there. I had to fight suitors off left and right before you'd agree to even look at me. It was a veritable bloodbath.
No way!
I slumped back in my chair, stunned into silence. I never thought my mother, of all people, was a boy magnet. It just does not compute. My mother, as far as I'm aware, is a relatively plain, unremarkable woman who wears loose cardigans and keeps her hair tied back in a ponytail. She's certainly no bombshell, but I guess she must have looked different when she was my age. Younger, certainly, and prettier. Maybe sexier?
Attitude can be sexy too, your character, not just how you dress.
Yeah, no, I still can't see it. I can't think of my own mother as sexy. There's just no way. I am kinda tempted to try digging out some photos of my mom from way back when, though, to compare them. Where's our family photo album? I did worry for a time that you might end up alone, Mayo. It's a relief to hear that you're finally in a relationship with somebody, unexpected though it may be. It's a huge weight off my shoulders.
Hey! You're making it sound like I'm a lost cause. That's not very nice. It mightn't be nice, but it is a prescient point. Would anybody else be able to put up with your nonsense as I can?
Not you too, Hijiri. I scowl at Hijiri, who only smiles in response. My parents seem to find this exchange hilarious, because after a pause, they both begin to laugh. I'm glad everybody finds my supposed undesirability so hilarious. Oh well. The real joke's on Hijiri. She's the dummy who went and fell in love with me. Now, she's stuck with me. I have no intention of leaving her. I love her an awful lot. Though I do wish she wouldn't laugh at me. Maybe it was a mistake to introduce her to my parents after all. I think they might be getting on a bit too well.
Jeez.
The world can be so cruel. Hey Hijiri, I was wondering something.
What?
Hijiri glances at me, her head tipped to the side. It's been several hours since I broke the news of my newfound relationship to my parents, though if you want to be technical about it, I guess Hijiri's the one who handled all that. It's been a few hours since then, regardless of who said what, and now the pair of us are heading back home. My parents' house is along behind us, down a vast, stretching ribbon of grey road, as is Kawasaki itself. Hijiri and I are deep in the countryside now, the city and all its congestion left in the dust. Shallow hills and fields pass us beyond the windows, all running together like watercolor paints. The roads around here are narrower than the ones around Tokyo, with more twists and turns. I have to keep an eye on them, despite these roads being more or less empty, lest I run the car into a ditch or a tree. That wouldn't be a good way to conclude the day, and I don't think it'd do much to endear Hijiri towards me. We've only just made up, and then some, since our huge argument. Our lives don't need any more drama. I've had quite enough of that. Still, the countryside is very pretty. It feels like it's been an age since I last saw it. I didn't think much of all the hills and fields when I first came out here, but this part of the country has a unique charm all of its own. It's very soothing. At least it would be if it wasn't for the droning hum of the car's engine. We've got a little ways to go until we get back to Hijiri's village. The drive is quite a taxing one, around 3 hours. It's quicker than taking the train, since there's no need to wait for connections, but these roads are a nightmare. Now, I wonder... You drove to my parents' place on your own, right? Hijiri nods, while idly twining a strand of brown hair about one finger.
I had Zai tell me your address. Why? Is there a problem with that?
Oh, no, there's no problem at all. I'm happy about it, but... I offer Hijiri a small smile, my fingers curled about the steering wheel. It's not something I would have expected coming from you. I thought you didn't like driving.
I don't like driving. I can't stand it.
And yet, you still came all this way for me?
I did, yes.
Hijiri replies after a brief pause.
I felt obliged. I was the one who cast you from my home, so it was on me to make amends. I knew that I had to see you, no matter what. That seemed much more important than my silly fear of cars. You couldn't have taken the train? The trains around here are too slow, not to mention unreliable. Then there's all the people once you get into Tokyo.
Hijiri pulls a face.
I'd rather scoop my eyeballs out than subject myself to all that hassle. Driving was the lesser of two evils.
But what about your accident?
What about it?
I thought it still unnerved you. Isn't that why you dislike driving?
It is, yes, but it has been years since then. I should try to move on. Of course, that's easier said than done. I'm still anxious behind the wheel, as I discovered earlier today. I'm worried that my anxiety will never fully go away.
Hijiri looks down at her lap, her expression pensive.
But with a strong enough incentive, it seems like I can put my fears behind me. I probably have you to thank for that.
Oh, no, it's fine. If my fingers weren't curled about the steering wheel, I'd wave Hijiri's compliments aside, they're much too effusive. My face is starting to get flushed, though it's not all that hot. Even the tips of my ears are turning pink. You're being too nice, Hijiri. I didn't really do anything.
No, you did. If it wasn't for you, I'm doubtful I would ever have worked up the courage to drive again, which is something I need to do. I don't want to keep avoiding things that make me uncomfortable. I'll never be able to get better then. And in any case, you're no longer my housekeeper. I can't keep treating you like hired labor.
By the way, I'm very happy about that they put this, that she even announces to the parents before. I mean, obviously they already had not such a stiff, like, employer-employee relationship before. But still, like, being in a relationship now, you shouldn't be employer and employee.
I want to help you around the house, which means I ought to buy the groceries every once in a while. To do that, I need to get over my fear of driving.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to. You can always divide the chores in what one person likes and the other doesn't. But it is admirable that she's willing to try at the very least, so yeah.
I don't want to put too much on you. It wouldn't be fair.
I think it's fine. You're worrying too much. I wouldn't turn against you over something like that. You shouldn't push yourself too hard. We can take it slow. Baby steps, alright?
Right.
Yeah, good approach. Hijiri replies after a small pause.
Baby steps. I'll do my best.
And I'll support you. I beam at Hijiri, overwhelmed by my own love for her. I think it'll be good though if you can be more independent. You really do need to leave the house more.
Now you sound like Sai.
Good, I'm glad. Sai is very sensible.
She is, yes. She always knows what other people ought to do. I, meanwhile, only pretend to be sensible. It's all a veneer. In actuality, I'm very emotional. I'm afraid of things. A lot of things. I have a short temper too. I'm petty and vindictive and childish, just like my mother. She made my father's life miserable until he couldn't take it anymore. He cheated on her, yes, but sometimes I wonder whether she drove him to it. They argued a lot before she learned about his infidelity, and she was incredibly paranoid. She's always been a difficult woman to get on with. And so am I.
Hijiri exhaled softly, her fingers wearing the sleeve of her white sweater.
Mayo?
I see it's Hijiri's turn to ask me a question now. I think I can anticipate what it is already, but I'll play along for the present. What is it?
You, don't think you'll get tired of me, do you?
Nah. Hijiri sounds so unusually anxious. I wish I could hug her. If I wasn't behind the wheel, I'd pull her to me in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, I have to keep my eyes trained on the road. You can always stop if it's like an empty country road, right? I don't want us getting into an accident. I'll be sensible for the present, but my urge to embrace Hijiri doesn't abate. She really is adorable. Don't worry, Hijiri. I've put up with plenty of your mood swings already. I think I'm pretty used to them by now. If you haven't scared me off yet, I doubt you'll be able to do it in the future. Just go ahead and try.
I don't want to try. It's not supposed to be a competition.
Then you have nothing to worry about. I like you a lot, Hijiri. I'm not planning on going anywhere. So long as you're willing to stick with me.
That was the general idea, yes.
Then it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll hit some snacks, but we can work them out together.
Together.
Hijiri leans back in the passenger seat, then looks to me beneath her sweep of long eyelashes.
I think I like the sound of that.
Me too. Isn't it funny how that works out? We must be on the same wavelengths. I giggle. That means this is gonna work out. It has to. I love you way too much for it not to.
You do?
Yeah. I reply without a moment's hesitation, my face wreathed in smiles. I really, truly do. And we have reached the end? What? I wonder if there's some kind of epilogue still? Revisiting all the scenes we've seen before. Sorry, that panty shot makes me laugh a bit. All those pancakes. I'm not even sure what to say right now, but I'm wondering if we get a bit of an after credit scene still. If not, I can already tell you that over on itch, where the game is, as well as on Steam, on itch, I think I saw that there is a little patch over there that can give you an extra scene that I will not be able to show on the channel. Thank you for reading. Thank you all for watching so far, and yes, okay, there's some more. Thank you. That was a bit abrupt of an ending.
That's just the start of a new journey, of course.
The day has finally come. It's been too long. I'm so excited. I can hardly wait. Aren't you excited too, Hijiri?
Not particularly.
Hijiri eyes me archly, her lips pursed. The pair of us are sitting together in the living room on the tatami floor, both parked in front of the TV. It's pretty late in the evening. A glance at the clock on the wall tells me it's 10:24, and the sky beyond the folding screen door is dark, all scattered with stars. Under normal circumstances, I'd be in the bath, soaping myself down before going to bed. But these circumstances aren't normal. They're anything but, in fact. It's the 3rd of October, and the first episode of the anime adaptation of Elfforest is set to air on TV in 5 minutes. I've been waiting for this day for what feels a small eternity. I'm so excited, I can scarcely sit still. My nervous energy was so intense, I actually decided to whip up a whole bunch of food for the occasion. I made a lot of sweet Western-style treats as per Hijiri's tastes, cookies, brownies, and even macarons. The table is positively groaning beneath the weight of all this colorful confectionery. I also made sure to pick up some booze to celebrate this milestone in Hijiri's career. Hijiri's been trying to downplay this achievement all day, but contrary to what she says, I think getting a TV anime of your own original work is a huge deal. I doubt I'll ever achieve such dizzying heights. I can't write for toffee. Miss Sakata, my old literature teacher, can attest to that much, and even if I could, I don't have any ideas worth writing. I'm not like Hijiri. I think she's incredible, really, and I think she's even more so now in the wake of Elfforest's anime adaptation. I just want to shower Hijiri with compliments, damn it. I want her to know how awesome I think she is. And, more importantly than that, I want Hijiri to accept my opinion. Getting Hijiri to recognize her own talents might, alas, be a losing battle. She seems so impervious to compliments, I've started to wonder whether she's allergic to them. It's customary for most people who aren't narcissists I mean, to react to compliments with a bit of bashfulness. But Hijiri really does take it too far. She seems almost offended by the attention I'm lavishing on her, but how can I help it? This is a huge accomplishment, despite her naysaying, and she needs to understand that. This is going to be so awesome!
For you, maybe.
Hijiri shoots me a sideways glance, her arms folded.
I'm somewhat less enthused.
Yes, well, you've made that quite apparent. I pout. Can't you try and be more into this? This is your work, after all. It's going to be broadcast all across Japan. Even more people will be able to see just how cute Princess Luna is, and how incredible Elforest is too. I can hardly wait. I want to see my waifu moving. I want to hear her talking. I wonder who her voice actress is.
I can tell you if you want. She's a fairly high-profile talent as far as I can tell. Not that I keep up with the industry. Her name is...
No, Hijiri! I reach across the table and press a hand to Hijiri's mouth. No spoilers, please. I want to figure it out myself. I beg your pardon?
I said...
Hijiri brushes my palm away and, pouting, she says...
That's fine, but do I have to sit here and watch Elforest with you?
Yes, of course you have to watch it. I want to celebrate this with you, Hijiri.
But I already know how the story goes.
Hijiri pouts while picking at the tatami floor.
I won't gain anything from watching an adaptation of my own work. It seems like a supremely self-indulgent exercise.
Won't it give you a sense of satisfaction?
No, it'll just be...
Hijiri bows her head, her face flushing, and very quietly she murmurs.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing? I blink. Do you really think so?
Yes, it'll be very embarrassing. I wrote the first volume of Elforest 4 years ago. It isn't representative of my current abilities as a writer. It's woefully outdated, really, and it's far too sentimental. I can do better. The thought of thousands of people watching Elforest, of thinking, is this the best Tsuchimiro he can do?
Shamefaced, Hijiri continues her awkward, anxious picking at the tatami mats.
It's excruciating. Thinking about it is making me feel ill.
Oh, Hijiri. My expression softens, and, in sympathy for my partner, I take her hand in mine. I didn't know you felt that way about your work. But don't worry, I'll be here with you. We can watch it together. I won't go anywhere. I'll cheer you on, and no matter how embarrassing you might find all of this, I want to remind you that it's alright to feel proud of your efforts every once in a while. You deserve it.
I'm not sure if that's true, but maybe you have a point. I wrote Elforest, so I shouldn't run away from it. Being afraid of my own story, my own success, is nothing short of cowardly.
Well, I
don't know if I'd go that far.
I smile while giving Hijiri's fingers a squeeze. But I'd like it if you could learn to be happy with the series you created. I'm happy with it, and I'm happy for you too. I just want to share in this special moment with you. I mean, it's not every day a creator gets an anime adaptation of their own series. If you really can't manage it though... I shoot a glance at the alcohol sitting unopened on the table and grin. And that's what the sake is for.
Huh.
Hijiri laughs at this, albeit briefly. I'm relieved to note, however, that some of the tension has slipped from her shoulders.
I'm not much of a drinker, but I might have to partake in it later if watching Alphas becomes too unbearable. You really do think of everything, Mayo.
I do my best. It's 'cause I care about you, Hijiri.
Yes,
Hijiri glances away, her face flushed.
You made that quite apparent. Thank you. I'm unsure whether I really deserve your kind words, though.
Of course you do. You're the best, Hijiri, and so's Elf Forest. Now. I look back to the TV screen, my eyes alight with anticipation. The latest ad, something about makeup wipes, is coming to a close, and the clock on the wall says it's 10:30. It looks like the first episode of Elf Forest is about to air. I'm so excited. This is going to be great. Half an hour later.
Well, that was dreadful.
Huh? I stare at Hijiri, my eyes wide with shock. One hand clasped upon my chest, as though I've been shot. My reaction might sound a bit melodramatic, and maybe it is, but Hijiri's response, or lack of, in the face of Elf Forest's first episode, is pretty painful. I'd hoped even Hijiri, critical though she might be, and incredibly, unassailably grumpy, would be moved to see her own work animated, but apparently not. She doesn't look moved at all, unless we're talking in the context of her lunch being moved out of her stomach and onto the floor. That's not at all the reaction I wanted to see from her. Didn't you enjoy that, Hijiri? I thought it was wonderful.
You would. You don't have any standards. As for myself, I was rather less enchanted. I can think of many more enjoyable ways to pass my time, inserting pins beneath my fingernails being chief among them.
Oh, come on, Hijiri. Not even you can have disliked it that much. Even if you don't like Elf Forest's story, which I know you don't, you have to admit it was pretty high budget. The animation was super fluid, particularly the scene where Itsuki woke up in Chrysteria. The way the wind ran through Luluna's hair. I sigh at the memory, my face flushed with the simple pleasure that comes from fangirling over your waifu. She looked so good, especially her eyes. They were so detailed. She was every bit as pretty in motion as I'd imagined her. I didn't see any weird shots, and believe me, if there were any, I would have noticed them. Nobody loves Luluna as much as I do. The animation team really did Luluna justice. She looked just the way she does in the gorgeous illustrations of the light novels. Watching her felt like a dream. I still feel like I'm living in a dream. Please, pinch me, Hijiri.
Gladly.
Hijiri leans in, then squeezes the fat on the crook of my elbow. She squeezes with no small amount of pressure, actually, and she succeeds in causing me genuine discomfort. I squeak and shuffle back, inspecting my arm for the damages. I think I can see a bit of a red mark where Hijiri's fingernails lanced me. How mean. You asked for it. Oh well, I suppose it could have been worse. Since Hijiri's a writer, she keeps her nails pretty short, so they don't get in the way of all her clacking on the keyboard. As such, she doesn't have much in the way of fingernails to deliver particularly effective pinches. If her nails were like mine, we'd have some serious problems. All the same, it still hurt. You're so mean, Hijiri.
You asked for it. Quite literally. Don't blame me for being rough. Not when you obviously adore it. Huh?
I stare at Hijiri, aghast, my eyes wide.
What do you mean I adore it? You're making some pretty wild accusations about my character right now. Don't you adore it? I thought you must, given how much patience you have when dealing with me. I can't imagine most ordinary people I mean, would care to give me the time of day, given I'm so prickly. You must like being tormented. That's the only logical explanation behind your, frankly, quite illogical behavior.
Here, Hijiri sighs and retrieves the half-drunk bottle of sake from the table. She was sipping at it on and off throughout the episode of Elf Forest, though she went for it more aggressively, I noticed, when Luluna was introduced. Though she claimed to dislike sake, Hijiri's consumed quite a lot of it. She takes another sip then, wiping her mouth with her sleeve, says,
"But I must be something of a masochist myself to sit through that with you. It was even more dire than even I'd anticipated."
Elf Forest, you mean? Hijiri nods.
I didn't have any issues with the animation. I quite agree with you, in fact. It looked gorgeous. Or with the voice actors, but...
Hijiri winces.
The caliber of the presentation only made the flimsiness of Elf Forest's basic premise even more jarring. It was readily apparent a lot of time and effort went into its production, not to mention a lot of money, and yet...
And yet? I shuffle closer to Hijiri again, reassured that she isn't going to launch another assault on me. Not like I have much room to judge her, given I did ask for it, and examine her. What's wrong?
It might sound silly, but it was somewhat surreal, I suppose, to see one of my own stories adapted in such a way. But more than that, it made me feel unworthy. I don't think Elf Forest deserves as much attention as it's received. It all feels so overblown. More eyes will be on Elf Forest than ever before, what with its anime debut, but that means more criticisms will be lobbied at it too. What if people start to realize what an insipid and uninteresting work it is? When I start thinking like that, I can't help but worry.
What? But Hijiri, I thought you didn't care what other people think about your stories.
I don't. That's what I tried to tell myself at least. But, well...
Hijiri dips her head, then begins to pick at the tatami floor, like she was before Elf Forest began airing.
I think I care a little more than I was letting on. Of course I care. I can't help it. Not as Elf Forest's creator. I don't much like Elf Forest anymore, but if other people were to regard it with the same disdain I do...
Hijiri's brow furrows.
It would hurt, I suppose, especially given it was, at one point, so very dear to me. Writing the first few volumes of Elf Forest helped me through some difficult times, But will it resonate with other people in the same way? Will they think it's silly? Self-indulgent? It's a lot to consider.
Oh, Hijiri. I sigh, both concerned for Hijiri's sake and flattered that she trusts me enough now to open up to me in so intimate a manner. I slide the bottle of sake from Hijiri's grasp, which is a little damp, owing to the perspiration of her palms, and bring it to my lips. I take a swig of sake myself. It's pretty good stuff, as it should be, given how expensive it was, then hasten to console her. I don't know if my words can help all that much, but no matter how down you might be on elf forests, a lot of people love it, myself included. I don't care if it's silly or self-indulgent. It's because it's silly and self-indulgent, in fact, that it's so good.
Do you really think so?
Of course. If you don't like what you're writing, how can you expect anybody else to? I could tell when I read the first few volumes of Elf Forest that you really cared about the characters and about the story you were telling with them. And that's what drew me into Elf Forest's world. It was full of passion.
But I've lost a lot of that passion now. I can't see Elf Forest the way I used to. I can't love it the way I did. Now it seems so trite, so tedious. It's so cliché. And people say that I'm a talented writer. That's such a joke, but it's not a very funny one. I'm nothing more than a hack who lucked her way into a bit of success. I'm well aware of this, but if other people found me out...
She shudders.
I don't want to think about it.
You shouldn't need to think about it, silly. I retort while poking Hijiri in the cheek with my index finger. Because you're not a hack. You're talented, regardless of what you think, and though I know you don't like Elf Forest anymore, I'm sure you'll be able to write something that resonates with you later.
Do you really think so?
I'm certain of it. You've got to have more faith in yourself. I thought you were supposed to be smart.
I used to tell myself that I was smart. That's not the same as being actually intelligent, though.
Well, you're way smarter than I am, and way more successful. If you're a hack, then what does that make your fans? Are we all idiots?
I believe I've made my opinion on my so-called fans quite apparent in the past. But who am I to insult anybody else's tastes? We can all like whatever we want. I can disagree with their opinions, of course, and I do, but if people are able to find enjoyment in Elf Forest, I suppose I'm glad that I wrote it. Maybe it wasn't such a waste of time after all. It definitely wasn't. You've made a lot of people happy, Hijiri, and that's not something everyone can say. I just wish you could be happy too. You deserve it, no matter what you might think. Now. I smile at my girlfriend and, squeezing her hand in my own, drop my voice to a seductive, at least I hope it's seductive, whisper. Why don't you let me celebrate with you properly? Weren't we celebrating already?
We were, yeah, but you've been working so very hard lately. I think you deserve even more of a reward. Won't you let me cheer you up?
Well...
Hijiri demurs for a few moments, her face flushed from the sake, before she replies.
I do suppose you owe me after you made me sit through that episode of Elf Forest. That really was unbearable.
I'm sorry to hear it. I'm sorry to impose upon you so much, Hijiri. But right now, I want to make it up to you. I want to make you feel good. You're my cute girlfriend, after all. I bring my face a little closer to Hijiri's, then press a quick, soft kiss to the side of her mouth. A kiss that makes Hijiri sigh.
And I want to show you exactly how much I like you.
Later that night.
Was that alright, Hijiri? I wasn't too pushy, was I? No, I think it was fine.
Hijiri exhales, her breath warm against my cheek, while her arms twine about my waist. The pair of us are lying in Hijiri's bed, the sheets wrinkled and creased about us after our previous entanglement. I've since changed into my pajamas, as has Hijiri, and now we're both fully clothed, more or less at least. Hijiri's chest is pressed against mine, and with it, I can hear the humming of her heart, beating in tandem, or so it seems, with my own. For a while, I didn't understand Hijiri at all. Though I loved Elforest, I was afraid I'd never be able to love, or even like, Hijiri herself. Achieving any kind of common ground between us seemed an impossible ideal to strive for, but I'm relieved that I was able to stick it out. I'm the sort of person who gives up when presented with any sort of hardship, but I couldn't do that with Hijiri. I didn't want to. I persevered, and in the end, we were able to establish some manner of understanding between us. Hijiri first granted me her friendship, fragile and uneasy though it initially was, and then... I'm glad I wasn't too clumsy. I've never actually done anything like that before.
No?
Hijiri surveys me sleepily, her brown eyes half-lidded.
You haven't?
Uh-huh. I shake my head. I've never dated anybody before, you know, until I met you. I think my mother might have said as much when she started teasing me.
Oh, yes, I remember that, though I don't really understand it.
Why not? I grin, then nudge Hijiri in the side.
Knowing you, I figured you'd say, well, of course nobody wanted to date you. Serves you right. That's what you get for being so annoying. Well, I do think you're annoying.
Ouch. Now, is that something to say to a girl when you're lying in bed with her? For an author, Hijiri can be awfully blunt at times. You'd think she'd put a little more thought into the words that come out of her mouth. But maybe she reserves her more carefully curated thoughts for the creation of her stories? Does that mean Hijiri's writing matters more to her than I do? I'd take issue with that, maybe, if I wasn't as in love with Hijiri's writing as I am. Besides, I'm not selfish enough to demand that Hijiri care about me more than her passion, not when she's loved writing, as far as I can gather, for years and years. Comparatively, we've only known one another a little while. I still need to give our relationship some time to grow.
But, annoying though you are...
Ah, Hijiri's still talking. I should pay attention.
You're a fun person to be with. You're very cheerful, and you seem confident too. Not at all like me. You don't get shy or self-conscious when you talk to other people. You're easy to talk to, and, well...
Hijiri's face begins to flush.
I think you're very pretty too.
You do? Aw, jeez. Smiling beatifically, I squeeze my arms more tightly still about Hijiri's middle.
I think you're a massive cutie too. Well, thanks. But please don't squish me that hard. All of my stuffing will fall out.
Your stuffing, huh? Is Hijiri likening herself to a plush toy? In that case, would her stuffing be, rather than cotton fluff, her internal organs, her lungs and her stomach and her intestines and the like? Now that's a pretty grisly mental image. I'd rather keep Hijiri's stuffing inside her where it belongs, so I relent.
Sorry about that, Hijiri.
I just couldn't help myself. You're so adorable after all. I guess I got a bit carried away.
Yes, you have a tendency to do that. Sometimes I wish you wouldn't. It can be a pain to deal with.
Shyly, Hijiri raises her head, then meets my eyes with her own, a small smile playing about her lips.
But you're not being a pain right now. I, like you a lot, in fact.
Aw, she's starting to look all flustered, despite what just occurred between us. How cute!
But because of that, I really can't understand why you weren't more popular back in high school. Weren't boys throwing themselves at you? If we'd been in the same class, I probably would have asked you out,
Hijiri glances away, her lips pursed.
Not that I'd be that brazen about it, I suppose. I'm not really the sort to chase after others.
So the time you drove to my house was a one-off then?
Indeed. With some luck, there shouldn't be a repeat performance of that.
Well, I should hope not. I never want to make you worry like that again, Hijiri, so I'll be on my best behavior. I won't call you a bitch anymore, and I won't do anything to make you mad at me. How does that sound?
It sounds perfect, provided of course that you can pull it off.
Well, we'll have to see. I'm impulsive, like you said, so I'll probably do or say something thoughtless in the future that'll upset you. I won't do it on purpose, though. I don't want to upset you. I mean, you're my first ever girlfriend. I smile whilst playing my fingers protectively against the small of Hijiri's back. And to answer your previous question? Not that it was really a question, I guess. My eyes crease in the corners in amusement. I was pretty popular back in high school. I had a whole bunch of friends. A few guys asked me out too. Hijiri pouts.
I knew it.
No, that sounded pretty bitter. Is Hijiri jealous about this revelation, I wonder? That's pretty cute too. But I shot them all down.
What? But why?
'Cause I didn't like them in that way, I guess. It's not like I wasn't interested in the idea of dating. I'm a pretty big fan of sappy romance manga, you know. But dating somebody for the sake of dating them, I don't know, that didn't seem right to me. I would have worried about stringing these guys along. And I guess if I'd accepted any of their confessions, I would have been. My friends told me I was crazy, of course. Why don't you want to date so-and-so? He's really good looking and he seems so nice too. But I don't know. I shrug. I guess I've just never really been into guys.
Well, I can relate in part though I wasn't popular in high school. Far from it. Nobody ever asked me out, though I never really cared. That's what I told myself, at least. I've never really been into guys either, or girls.
Hijiri's nose wrinkles.
Or people in general, for that matter. I thought romance was a huge waste of time. I told myself I was above it all. that I didn't care about it. I didn't want any kind of relationship if it'd end the way my parents' marriage did, in tears and angry accusations and a divorce. The whole thing sounded like a waste of time and energy. Life's hard enough as it is, without getting other people involved, without making yourself vulnerable and giving them opportunities to hurt you. I told myself I was better off on my own, but there's something to be said, don't you think, to having somebody to cling to every once in a while. I give Hijiri another squeeze, more gently this time, and she returns it with a shy smile. Maybe, I suppose. This, I mean, it isn't as bad as I feared.
Well, good. I'm glad I'm not as bad as all your worst-case scenarios. As for me, I don't go in for all that cynical, we're all gonna die anyway, so why bother doing anything stuff that you do.
Really, I hadn't noticed.
But I've never been one to push things. I like taking life at my own pace. My friends teased me because I didn't date back in high school, but I didn't let that jibes get to me too much. I always figured, like, if there's somebody out there for me, I'll meet them eventually. And if not, well, I guess that's fine too. That's just the way life is.
You mean you've never once worried about being alone?
Not really. Worrying about the future's never really been my thing. I mean, what if it gives me wrinkles? Priorities.
I think you have at least another decade before you have to start worrying about wrinkles, Mayo.
I guess so. You're older than me, so you get there fast, I presume. I giggle, then give Hijiri another nudge.
You're plenty cute already, but I think you'll look even cuter when you get even older. You'll end up like a cute little prune. Mayo.
Hijiri scowls, then prods me on the side, between my ribs, a gesture which makes me squeak.
That isn't very flattering.
I meant it to be, though. I just wanted you to know, Hijiri, that I'll always like you, no matter what you look like. I like you a whole bunch, more than I've ever liked anybody before, in fact. I turned all my classmates down, and a bunch of my co-workers later, come to think of it. But I don't want to turn you down. I want to stay with you. I wasn't waiting on my one true love or anything. I know I'm dozy, but I'm not delusional. But I like to think I would, one day, find somebody that I really care about. Somebody who really gets me. I give Hijiri another squeeze. And now I've got you, I'm not about to let you go.
Oh no, that sounds like a threat.
Hijiri replies dryly, but I can tell she isn't upset. Not really. If she was, she wouldn't be smiling like that.
Don't I get any say in the matter?
Nope. You're all mine, Hijiri, to do with as I please. You can't escape me, so you might as well give up.
Oh dear, I'm starting to feel less like a valued partner and more like a princess kept in captivity. I'm starting to wonder if I shouldn't try to mount a heroic escape.
Here, Hijiri laughs. The sound, though soft, sends tremors through my heart, and nuzzles her head against my chest.
But that sounds like too much effort. I guess I'll have to let you capture me.
Yes, you do that. Resistance is futile. I won't let you get away.
I don't want to. I've been alone for a long while, but now...
Hijiri's eyelids, heavy with sleep, fall shut, and with her brown lashes matted, she murmurs.
I think I like this.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Hijiri nods.
I want to stay like this. Just a little longer. I want to stay with you. We're both inexperienced when it comes to romance, but I think I'd like to try experiencing it with you. If you don't mind, that is. Of course I don't mind.
I offer Hijiri a reassuring smile, and, letting my own eyelids fall shut, I'm getting pretty sleepy myself. I bump my forehead gently against Hijiri's.
That was the whole plan. I want to stay with you too.
Maybe Princess Lulana got dealt a raw deal in Elf Forest's latest volume, but she's a fictional character. She isn't real. She wasn't able to stay with Itsuki, which, upon reading it, really did break my heart. But Hijiri's done a pretty good job at gluing those scattered pieces back together again. While I'm sad that my waifu met such a sorry ending, I think things are working out considerably better for me. This is going to sound incredibly corny, but yeah. I really do think I was able to achieve a happily ever after of my own. The end. And there we have it. Okay, that was really sweet. I mean, as I said, I was a bit worried there that it would end abruptly after them getting together. I wanted to see some of that cute of them actually being in a relationship, and yeah, the game delivered. But yeah, that was it for all the words she wrote. As I mentioned, there seems to be an additional scene that plays out somewhere there in between that I cannot show on here. So if you're interested, if you want to play the game for yourself, I'll drop the links in the description below as usual. Please leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Yeah, any more thoughts on the game? So, yeah. What I meant to say before, I mean, it was really cute, a relaxing story. At some parts, I have to be honest, I felt like it dragged a little bit, but I also saw that ebi-hime, the dev, that she put an update on Steam at least. I mean, I assume it's also on itch. To how do I say this? So basically she got complaints about some of the writing being repetitive, and so she fixed that with the update apparently. We were already quite far ahead in the game before this update came, so I can't really judge on what happened there, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was especially as a writer, as was Hiji, it was hard hearing that kind of criticism, and well, I must agree with the criticism, so I'm glad that she listened and did this update, but I don't know how it turned out fully. You would have to check this out for yourself if you want to know. But overall, it was a very cute story, and we had a very chill time. I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah. And I'll see you in the next video and the next project. Until then, bye bye!